RWJ.
Let's talk about Black history today. Today, we're going to look at a Black scientist from the UK called Dr. James Samuel Risien Russell. Risien Russell was lucky due to his parentage. His sugar planter father, William Russell, from the then region of Demerara, present-day Guyana, which is in South America, sent him and his brother William to the Dollar Academy in Scotland in 1880. He studied at Edinburgh University from 1882 to 1886, added a gold medal-winning MD in 1893 to his MB, and CM from 1886, qualified for MRCP in 1891, then became a fellow in 1897. Furthermore, he was awarded a BMA scholarship in 1895 and studied in Berlin and Paris. His first hospital appointment was in Nottingham. Then he worked at the Brompton Tuberculosis Hospital in St. Thomas, which is in London. He was a staff member of the University College Hospital, then a professor from the 1890s when he was the best known as the younger neurologist, which means somebody who studies the brain and the nerves. 8 research articles by 1893 had doubled by 1908. He also contributed to reference works, notably on nervous disorders in Albert and Ralston system of medicine. He was skilled at the diagnosis and management of diseases of the nervous system. His private practice was at 44 Wimpole Street from the 1900s. He opened the neurological section of the BMA's July 1910 conference, speaking on politics. He was often a witness in legal cases involving lunacy, notably Harnett versus Bond, and chaired the National Society for Lunacy Law Reform in the 1920s. His house physician from 1923, MacDonald Critchley, recalled his dark skin and thought he was one of the most important and colourful figures within the medical profession of Great Britain. Having been the product of a mixed heritage marriage in Demerara, now Guyana, did not prevent James Risien Russell from achieving professional successes in Britain. He was a captain in the Royal Army Medical Corps from 1908 to 1918. He was a professor at University College Hospital in the 1890s. He served on the management board of the Hospital for Nervous Diseases until 1928 and was an author of well-regarded articles in the medical press. His high society private patients included explorer Sir Henry Stanley and best-selling novelist Mrs. Humphrey Ward. Risien Russell was a solid and respectable professional in London for 4 decades. He was described of as mixed racial stock, with a private practice, unusual, comprising of a large proportion of chronic psychotic and psychoneurotics. The Highgate Cemetery Memorial Stone has Dr. J.S.R. Russell's name on the reverse and has William's name on the side. His brother died suddenly and was recognized as a lawyer. Dr. Risien Russell was not a stigmatized outsider, but was part of English society. Russell is detailed in the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, September 2010. It already contains entries on Nelson and Doctors Harold Moody, John Elkendorf, and James Jackson Brown. Dr. Risien Russell married Ada Gwenllian Mitchell in Kenwyn, Cornwall, in July 1892. Her father was a justice of the peace in Truro. Their Dr. Marjorie Gwenllian Russell was born in London, 28th of October 1893. In 1915, he was divorced by Ada, and in 1924, he married widow Ada Hartley, who, with their son Anthony, survived him. Here's a picture of Dr. James Risien Russell. Summary: identified and referred to as having dark skin and of mixed racial heritage, which had his own racial overtones, did not deter this determined scientist from achieving his career goal. Focus and single-mindedness saw him achieve in a society that, at the time, was steeped in racial disharmony, and with slavery not too long over. One can imagine the odds stacked against James Samuel Risien Russell. Today, I learned that no matter where you came from, you can achieve anything. This man came from Guyana, which was in South America, and he came to Scotland, and he was helping people like Henry Stanley, who was also someone who met David Livingstone when he was exploring somewhere in Africa. And it also teaches me that if you put your mind to something, you can achieve it. Because he put his mind to helping other people, and he did. Thank you for listening to us today. We hope you enjoyed this. Bye!
Hi kids! We are going to read the last story in this book. Once upon a time in Africa, I've loved every story in this book. It has been a wonderful time going back to the tales of Africa and enjoying every story. Okay, let me stop talking and read the last story. The title of today's story is The Racoon, the Rat, and the Leopard. Wow, those are interesting three animals. Let's see what's happening. Listen to the story.
So let the story begin.
The story falls upon the raccoon.
It falls upon the raccoon.
The story falls upon the rat.
It falls upon the rat.
The story falls upon the leopard.
It falls upon the leopard.
Once upon a very long time ago, there lived a raccoon and a rat who had been friends for as long as either of them could remember. Rarely was one to be seen without the other. There were many reasons for their friendship. In order to understand the story, my friends, we need to remember that they both lived moot. In fact, they loved every cut of the meat and every dish that came from a sheep or a lamb, or lamb chops, or chewing lamb, or shoulder of lamb, or leg of lamb, or mutton stew, or minced lamb, or lamb kebab, or all the other thing you can think of as far as is a lamb. They both loved it. Lambs are in trouble. Real trouble. Let's find out. You will not be surprised, therefore, to learn that the raccoon and the rat were regularly tempted to steal a sheep from the flock. Such was their passion for the meat that the flock began to dwindle at an alarming rate. And so one day, the shepherd went to the leopard. Leopard, instead of his usual roaring, I want to stay with my sheep and protect them from danger, particularly at night. What is in it for me? Asked the leopard, as he was particularly fond of his nighttime wandering. There would be a big reward for you. I haven't decided the exact amount yet. But it is from now that my sheep, but if from now my sheep are safe, then you can be rest assured I shall reward you handsomely. So the deal was struck that every night from dusk to dawn, Leopard could be seen taking up his position at the entrance of the farm. However, the very fact that he could be seen meant that the raccoon and the rat decided to temporarily stop their killing spree. After all, there were other things they could eat, and the leopard would eventually tire out of his job. So they lay low and waited. Realizing that he needed to lay a trap for the two hungry animals, the shepherd decided to disguise Leopard as a sheep the following night. Leopard wore a flea. Instead of keeping apart from the sheep, he mingled with them, the better to fool whoever might be watching. Wearing two coats of his own and the fleece, Leopard looked extra fat and tempting. So it was from that when Raccoon and Rabbit decided that this time was right to steal another innocent creature. They were easily lured into capturing him. Ouch! They were going to capture the leopard. However, as the rat was taking his turn in carrying the leopard away, balancing on his head, he noticed whiskers and claws protruding from beneath the fleece, which suddenly did not feel very well. Come, take your turn, Raccoon. I cannot go another step with this heavy load. Just let me rest here a little. I will catch up with you and be ready to help again, gasped the rat. The rat is a smart one. Wow, can you see the picture? That's the leopard dressed up in a lamb fleece. Interesting. It wasn't long before the raccoon too was exhausted, and he was extremely relieved to see the rat rushing to rejoin him. Instead of taking the heavy load, the rat began to sing. My friend Raccoon, just drop your load. My friend Raccoon, just drop your load. Look at the whiskers, look at the claws, look at the mouth, the set of jaws. My friend Raccoon, just drop your load. Listen to me, drop your load. Listening intensely, with fear clutching his heart, the raccoon needlessly managed to reply the rat. My old friend rat, I hear your words. My old friend rat, I hear your word. I'll finish the journey to my home, where I will drop it, so please be there. My old friend rat, I'll drop my load. Listen to me, you must be there. As Raccoon stumbled up in his hole, gasping for breath, he dropped Leopard and dashed towards the tiny entrance. But before he could reach safely, the leopard reached out his mighty paws and grabbed him. In an instant, the rat leaped up from Leopard's back and bit him so hard that he lost his grip, yowling in pain. In this brief instant, for a brief instant it was, the two small animals made their escape. But if you were ever wondered why the raccoon had stripped back, you have only to remember how sharp the leopard claws were. That is the picture of the raccoon and how the leopard beat him, and he had like a stripy back behind him. Interesting. An old woman told me this story on my way to meet you here. And long may your ears be greased, listeners. That was a very interesting, crafty story. Now I know why a raccoon's back is strapped. It was because the leopard pounced on him when he went to steal. Kids, is stealing good? No, I don't think stealing is good. But it teaches us an interesting lesson. That one day you will be caught if you keep doing something evil or if you keep doing something bad. You might not always be caught one day. The raccoon and the rat were fortunate that they escaped, but you won't be fortunate, kids. So it is better you stay away from stealing, from taking the things that doesn't belong to you, and from thinking that the whole world is in your fingers. I love their song. Did you enjoy that song? Do you want us to sing it again? I really loved it. My friend Racoon, just drop your load. My friend Racoon, drop your load. Look at the whiskers, look at the jaws, look at the mouth, the sets of jaws. My friend Racoon, just drop your load. Listen to me, drop your load. And until we see you next time on Reading with Joan, bye. Remember, no stealing. No taking things that are not yours. Bye.